Okay, so we're back in the next video. In the last one, you heard about my twisted view of myself, about how I hated myself, how I was involved with alcoholism, bullying, that kind of stuff. And I was truly searching for purpose. You heard about how I went on a hike. I was with my friend. He led me to understand about who Jesus was and to give my life to Jesus. Okay. We left off with I put the stack of pamphlets and the Gospel of John that his grandfather gave me when I gave my life to Jesus. We left off with me putting that on my nightstand, and then that was it. So about 2 weeks go by, okay, and I ended up getting involved in a sexual situation within that 2 weeks. I had been a virgin up until that point, and when in that 2 weeks, I met this girl who I'd never met, and I ended up losing my virginity. Okay. When that happened, I got in my car straight afterwards, and I was sitting in my car, and all of a sudden, I began to feel dirty. You know, if you've ever rolled in mud, something close to that, you might know what I'm talking about. Or maybe you've been sprayed by a skunk and you want to get that smell off you, so you begin to scrub yourself so hard to try and get the smell off. Something similar to that, but it almost felt like a dirtiness inside my skin. And I literally began to scrub my arms because I didn't know what was going on. I had just done this thing, and I began to feel this intense shame and this intense conviction come upon my heart. And I began to weep, and I was crying, and I was scrubbing my body, and I was truly freaking out because I thought, I honestly didn't know what to think. I was freaking out. I didn't know what was happening. So I got in my car, and I started driving, and I drove back to my neighborhood, okay? And in my neighborhood, we had a neighborhood pool. So I passed straight by my parents' house, and I drove straight to the neighborhood pool. It's probably 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So I parked my car, opened my door, flew out of my car, and jumped the fence. So the fence was locked. This was the end of summer. There's no one around. I leapt over the fence, and at the time I don't think I had anything in my pockets. I literally just walked straight into the water, fully clothed. I walked straight in the water, shoes on and everything, and I began to scrub my body in the water. I was literally jumping in there, instinctively trying to take a bath because I felt this dirtiness upon me. So I'm scrubbing my body, I'm crying out, literally crying out, and I'm trying to get clean, to no avail. So all of a sudden, I began to get frustrated. I remember I was sitting in the deep end. There was this ledge in the deep end, and I sat down on it. And I was tired. I was gasping for air. I was frustrated. I was angry. And I still felt dirty. And I began to cry out. And I believe that I cried out from my innermost being out of such frustration. And I said, God, if you will clean me of this, I will serve you for the rest of my life. And so when I did that, I felt this instinct to stand up and dip back in the water. So I stood up and I crossed my arms, and I just fell back in the water. When I came out of the water, all of a sudden, I realized that all the dirty feeling left was completely gone. I didn't know what happened. All the panic left me, and I had no idea what was going on. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, well, it sounds like you were baptized. But to be honest with you, I was baptized when I was a baby, And I had never seen a baptism up to that point. And so when I dunked myself in the water, I had no idea what was going on. So after I felt better, I didn't feel this like a physical presence that I remember of God, but I felt clean, and that's what I was going after. So I got out of the pool, got in my car, drove home, and it was just another evening, went to sleep. Well, fast forward maybe a couple days. I woke up in the morning and I heard a voice inside of me. And I heard that voice say, take the pamphlet of John, pick it up, and begin to read it. And at that point, it sounded like a voice that I had known for a very long time. But I knew inside of me that that was not me. I knew it wasn't me, but it was this voice that was so comforting, that was so sure. And again, it was like this instinct for me to just obey the voice. And so I picked up the Gospel of John and I began to read it. I want you to stick around, and I'll tell you what happened in the next video when I read that Gospel of John and what has been continuing to happen since then. God bless you guys. Check it out in the next one.